Hey guys, Quentin Figueroa with SlayerMint.com. And now let's talk about how there are too few jobs and too many business opportunities. All right, so yeah, we hear this all the time. There's not a lot of jobs out there. The economy sucks. The things were way better like 20 years ago. It's just everything sucks right now. Like you're kind of dependent on the economy, and if the economy's bad, what are you going to do? You're kind of out of luck. So yeah, there's not a lot of jobs out there. But what people don't realize or talk about or think about, like there's all these problems they complain about, right? Like schools suck, you know, climate change, the environment. There's inequalities. People are poor. There's all this, stuff going on that people complain about. These are all opportunities to create jobs, opportunities to solve these problems, right? So it's like these are kind of things that you could do to create a job or to do jobs and to hire people and to create value, this type of stuff. And people just kind of overlook at that. They kind of look at this narrow side of it and they just kind of look at the job aspect only, but they don't think about like what is a job? What is a job doing? What is my role in the job? And like what is the value that's being created there? Right? Because I mean, people can tell you everything that's wrong with the world, all the problems, but they can't tell you a way to solve it without just taking money that's already existent from like a rich person and giving it to somebody who needs it. And it's like that's not how you solve a problem. That's just shuffling the problem around. It's like if people are poor and you want to create wealth, you don't create wealth by taking it from a rich person and giving it to a poor person. You create wealth by innovating something and by increasing productivity and these more economic ways of creating wealth. You don't just transfer wealth around and call it wealth creation. So, yeah, when you steal a fish and you give it to somebody, you haven't created wealth. You create wealth when you increase the productivity or you innovate somehow. Like instead of stealing a fish from somebody, if you find a way to catch like 10 times as many fish, like with a fishing pole or a fishing net or some other innovation, that's how you create wealth. And that's the kind of things we need to do. And that's what solving problems does. That's what job creation is this type of thing. So let's kind of go into that a little bit, right? So yeah, most people view jobs kind of from a limited scope. They view it as like a career or like some just type of thing everybody has, and everybody has one, and it's like it's good to have one throughout your whole life, and it's not necessarily supposed to be moving or volatile or liquid or they just kind of view it in this set way, kind of like how they view school and a lot of things, right? They just kind of have this like preconceived view of what it should be, but you don't really, and people don't necessarily look at like what is a job? What is a job doing? And a job is basically a task that needs to be accomplished, right? When you mow somebody's lawn, they need their lawn mowed, and you're accomplishing that task by mowing it, right? If you need to build a house, a job is to build that house. You get people to build the house, you accomplish that task. That is what it is, right? The problem is that this grass is long and it needs to be mowed. So somebody solves it by mowing it, and that's a job, and that's value to people, and that's why somebody would want to pay for that. Somebody needs a house built. The value and the job aspect is solving that problem, achieving that goal, right? So that's kind of what's going on here. And different jobs have different payment schedules. Some jobs, might pay, that day. They might pay, very quickly. They might pay in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or something. And some jobs may only pay once the actual job is accomplished, once the actual task at hand is done. So there's different payment schedules, and it depends, right? And I've kind of talked about this before, how it's the hard part of starting a business is that you don't know if you're going to make money, right? So people tend to gravitate towards these quicker payment schedules, right? Where they get paid, hourly, they get paid every few weeks or whatever. They have some type of salary versus these kind of unknown payment schedules where you don't know if you're going to get paid because you're trying to start a business, you're trying to solve a problem, but in doing so you're starting a business and you're taking on that risk. You're taking on that kind of unknown element of, well, I mean, is this going to work out? I'm trying to solve this problem. I'm trying to create a job, but I don't know how it's going to end, right? And this is kind of the gap that I think we need to learn how to bridge, that we need to start working with more. So we need to kind of see, like, how do you solve these problems in a way where you can make money and, sustain yourselves and create jobs and help others and this type of thing. Okay, so pretty much every job throughout the world it started as a problem that needed to be solved, because that's pretty much what jobs are. There's some type of problem, task, thing that needs to be done. Somebody does it. Some way it's achieved, right? So if you do a quick Google search, just check out, the biggest problems in the world. Check out what are the problems that are facing the world that need to be solved, right? So from Google, here's some stuff that I think most people would agree on. These are problems that we need to solve, right? So lack of economic opportunity and employment. All right. Another problem is safety, security, and well-being. Okay. Another problem is lack of education. Okay. Yeah. Another problem is food and water security. Okay. Another problem that people see is government accountability and transparency slash corruption. All right. That could be a problem. Another one is religious conflicts. Another problem is poverty. Another one is inequality in income and discrimination. Another problem is large-scale conflict and wars. And then finally, the biggest problem people see is climate change and destruction of nature. Okay, so these are problems, right? And a job is a way to create a job is to solve problems, right? So these are the biggest problems. So if you were to go on tackling these problems, you're going to create a job. You're going to solve the problems of too few jobs, right? You're going to see these problems. There's tons of problems out there. So as you start tackling problems and solving them, you're going to be creating jobs, right? And almost anybody can start chipping away at these. Obviously, it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy, but you can start finding ways to solve these things and get going, right? Some businesses, you don't even need money to start. But if you do what most people do. Continue working your day job and start saving up money. If you need more money, start networking with people, start looking around and trying to find ways to raise money. If you have a good idea, if you have a good business, if you're doing the right thing, it's going to be really easy to find the money. People are always looking for good ideas. Well, or at least good execution on good ideas and good businesses. People want to invest in good people that want to get something done well. So if you have the right business and the right kind of thing in place to make money with it and to actually solve a problem, it's not hard to find money at all. So that is something people could work towards, are those businesses, right? So if you're worried about climate change, right? Great. Get some books on math, science, start learning about the climate, start learning about kind of how this stuff works and what it's all about. Read everything you can about it. You can go to the library and read for free. Online, you can read for free. You can watch YouTube videos about it. There are lots of things you can do. And if you really are passionate about these problems, which people supposedly say they are, right? People are worried about climate change. Well, great. Use your passion to fuel your study and your awareness and putting in the time to try to find ways to alleviate these problems and mitigate them and solve them through businesses and in these types of ways. If you really care about climate change and the environment, these types of things, immerse yourself into this category, learn everything you can about it, talk to all the experts that you can, get involved with it, and then look for opportunities and look for things that people aren't doing that can be done to help solve this problem. Look for ways to improve the environment and create kind of the reality that you want, in the field that you want. Look for ways to just move into this and start doing it. Just get all into it, and you're going to start to see kind of like, well, why isn't this being done? Why aren't these people doing this? You'll see like, okay, well, people think similar to me and they want it done this way. They want something like this. Well, then do it. Start doing that type of thing. Don't complain that there's not a lot of jobs. A job is solving a problem in an area that you're passionate about. Just start freaking doing it and learn everything you can about it. And if you care about something like that, you probably already know a lot about it. You probably already spend a lot of your free time kind of educating yourself about it. So start taking that and turning it into a job now. Start working it into something that can provide value for people, that people want to pay you money for. And there's there's infinite ways that can be done, and it might not be obvious at first, but just keep playing with it and keep messing with it, and I think you'll find kind of ways that it could work. So anyway, that's kind of how this works. Find a problem, look for a way to solve that problem. See where the current understanding of climate change is, and then look to kind of push it further. Look to kind of take the foundation that's already been built by other businesses and people and education systems, and then kind of push it to the next step. Move it one step further and kind of grow that and, continue to evolve something further, right? So yeah, if you're worried about war, great. 38.9% of millennials are also worried about war. I'm not a big fan of war at all. I don't like it at all. So most people don't like war, just governments, people that can make money at the top through it like it, but everyday people don't like war. So how can you work towards alleviating this problem? There are ways to do that. There are things that people would pay money for if you had the right service or idea for them to pay money towards that could help solve that problem. You need to bridge that gap. You need to kind of figure out what can be done there. And if you just put a lot of time into it, and you just keep understanding the issue and understanding the problem, you're going to come up with ways and have insights into what can be done and what could be valuable to people. There's a lot of people that have money that want to solve problems like this also. Just look for ways to do it. Study it and understand it as well as you can, and you'll find the value that can be done to solve the problem. You'll find a way to make it work, right? So that's kind of what needs to be done. And these, of course, are kind of large-scale extreme examples, right? Like ending war, saving the environment, stuff like this. This is like as big as it gets, right? These are like huge problems, and I get that solving that is like nearly impossible. But of course you can chip away at it in like a smaller scale or whatnot. But I'm just kind of giving you an example of these are problems and these are opportunities to make money. But it doesn't have to be something large scale like this. It doesn't have to be like earth changing and like super groundbreaking and revolutionary, right? You can just kind of start with something just more simple, right? Maybe you like animals, right? I love animals. A lot of people like animals. So maybe you start an animal shelter. You do some type of thing around animals where people have a problem. They don't like seeing animals on the streets. They don't like seeing animals abused. Find a way to solve this. People pay you money to do that, right? You like money? Well, study finance, learn to invest, do this type of thing. You like to exercise? Well, then start a gym. Come up with a new fitness program or training program, right? Train people on how to become fit. There's lots of things to do. Just look for problems in the industry and in the kind of thing that you're passionate about. Just look for what you enjoy and find ways to solve problems in that area, right? You like video games? Okay, well, maybe you can create a video game. Maybe you can create an esports team and manage that. Maybe you could create some website that has stats and it's just like a database of lots of information. There's lots of new stuff like that. Maybe you could organize the esports thing and kind of build like a community and a whole kind of system around that. There's just always new things going on, always new problems being created that need to be solved, and people that want them solved and will pay you money to do it. So just kind of do that. If you like drugs, right? Find a way to get involved with medical marijuana or push for more drugs to be legalized. Who knows? There's lots of ways to take what you enjoy and solve problems, because a lot of people probably see the same problems that you do in the fields that you do. So it's like you might as well just kind of start solving them, working with these people and actually creating value in that way versus just complaining that there's no jobs. It's like, okay, well, that means nothing. Right. So you like food? Well, you get the idea. You just do what you got to do. You start things in these industries. You work towards goals and problems in these fields. So that's kind of how this works. And of course, when you start at the problem, rather than the job, you create the job. And that's kind of the whole point of this. It's like we don't want to start at the job. We want to start at the problem and work up from there. And in doing so, you're going to create a job. You're going to solve a problem. You're going to add value. You're going to create wealth. It's like this is kind of how an economy grows and how it works. And this is kind of the whole idea behind a free market and that type of stuff. So this is kind of how it works. So yeah, I repeat, if you start looking first for problems that need to be solved, then you will end up at some point creating a job for yourself and possibly others. So that's like kind of super important. That's the main point I'm trying to get across. People are saying not a lot of jobs, but there's a lot of problems. Well, by solving the problems, there's going to be a lot more jobs. And I get that starting a business is not easy, and that's why most people do it. So, like most of the great entrepreneurs say, keep your day job, start just doing it on the side, start working towards something on the side. You probably already read about, talk about, or into these things anyway, because most people are passionate about stuff. So find ways to find problems in the things you're passionate about and start solving them. Start just kind of working towards that, because that is kind of how you create jobs. And that's how you're going to enjoy the work that you do and how you're going to do great work because of it. So super important. So yeah, the problem isn't that there are too few jobs. That's not the problem. The problem is that there are too few people willing to take on the challenges and problems of the world. That's the true problem. So yeah, thank you for listening, guys, and take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.